new angle unlocked. I am trying to film in my living room more because that's where I do the vast majority of my crafting. And today I am working on the Midland Cardigan. So I'm in the middle of a row. Let me get to the end and we will talk about it, because this is my second time knitting this cardigan and I really want it to work out this time, and I'm still having just extreme doubts. Right now, this is what I've got going on. So the way this pattern starts, I'm not really giving away any secret sauce, I don't think, but you cast on your stitches and you work back and forth. Well, yeah, you work back and forth essentially without giving anything away. You work this front panel, do the increases here, cast off your stitches, and then you work back and forth along the back panel. I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that. Where these two stitch markers are right here, that's where this is going to close to make the armhole. And the last time I did this, I got the entire body of this done and then decided I didn't like it. I did it out of the same yarn, and as you can kind of see, this yarn is, it's seen better days. I've been working with the yarn that I tore out, and I just made it into these little balls. The twist is kind of compromised. There's not as much of a twist in this yarn. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't wash it or steam it after the fact, but I had already blocked the original cardigan, and I think that led to some of these issues. I'm hoping it'll block out, but it may just look a little ratty. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have the exact same problem with size 4 as I had with size 3. So the reason I didn't like it originally was because where it sat on my body, it was cinching in too much, and it's gonna do the exact same thing. I wish this was longer, and I should have thought about it and just cast on more stitches, because I could have like done a little bit of my own math and made it work with just like 20 more stitches to make the entirety of the thing longer and give me a little bit more armhole depth, because right now this is what we're looking at. I would say that that's about 5.5 inches, and that's gonna be tight. That's gonna be in my armpit. We're gonna see. We're gonna block it. We're gonna see. I'm gonna finish this, and it's gonna be great, right? It's gonna be great. So Midland Cardigan, this is where I'm at, working on the back panel. Still using West Yorkshire Spinners BFL Fleece DK in the color 1041 Ravine. So I will check back in later when I have some good updates. Hey guys, so the last time I showed you, oh, Nella's coming. Come on, girl. She's old, so just give her a sec. Oh, there she goes. Good girl. Okay, anyway, it's the next day, and I made some pretty good progress on my Midland cardigan last night. So let's show it off. What? I completely finished this back panel and was able to cast on the stitches for the left front panel. Right now I'm working my short rows, and I thought maybe we could just sit here and chat for a little bit while I do a couple. I'm taking a break because it's been a busy day. I made breakfast, I made a cake, and then I started my ply ball for my jaunty spin. So I have two 4-ounce braids of BFL. that I have spun my singles for, I just alternated both braids together into one single, and yeah, I'm taking a break from that and I'm working on this, so I'll check back in. Good morning. I'm going to take a couple minutes to sit here and chat with you about the progress that I've made on my Midland cardigan. So let me try and hold this up in a way that's not super clinky clacky because I've got my needles attached. So from the last time you've seen it, the hem is on and I have picked up stitches for the sleeve. I knit the hem according to instructions. So we've got 3.5 millimeter needles I used on the hem, which is a full size down from, oh, I just hit this, which is a full size down from what I used on the body, which was a 4.5 millimeter. Picked up my stitches for my sleeve, which I think I did a pretty good job keeping in pattern. I mean, obviously there's a seam there, but it's not super noticeable. And then I tried to keep the shoulder seam pretty. Why can't I get this to do what I want it to do? Anyway, it's a little wonky there, but it's not too bad. I think when worn, it won't be super noticeable to the untrained eye. Modifications that I've made so far, because on sleeves, I always kind of go off pattern. I picked up 8 extra stitches, and I didn't start my decreases when the pattern tells us to. I have relatively wide arms right here. I wish I could say I'm super muscular, but I'm not. And I have pretty long arms. Mr. Craft is 8, 9 inches taller than me, and we have almost the exact same wingspan. So I'm pretty sure I just have longer arms. Also, I'm off on row gauge, which is going to affect the length of the sleeve. So I added 10 extra rows before I started my decreases. And we'll just see where this shakes out. So I've already started my decreases, so I'm going to keep in pattern now until I get to the end of the decreases listed in the pattern. And then what I'm going to do is just assess. I'm pretty sure I will need extra rows, even with my extra rows at the top. And I will just add those decreases in increments of 2 until I'm happy with the length. And if I have to do a couple rapid decreases, then I will do that before the cup. So let's talk about yarn. The body used 3 full skeins And then in the hem, I was able to get 8 rows with that 3rd skein before adding in my 4th skein of yarn. And then this is the 4th skein that I used to pick up for the sleeve. I will probably be able to get a full sleeve from this and pick up for the next sleeve. I have 1 more skein of yarn. I do not think that's going to be enough yarn. I do think I'm going to have to buy yarn for this, which is fine. But I'm going to wait a little bit because my local yarn shop does sell this in this color. Because I would like to, if I need to buy more yarn, I would like to buy a full skein and use that full skein for the double knit button band. So it just is a little bit more cohesive and there's no line or demarcation where I start a new skein in the double knit button band. I think that's just like the best I can do with this because they will be different dye lots. I bought this probably a year and a half ago. It's a Midland update. So you know how I told you I bought a whole new skein of yarn to knit the button band because I didn't think 55 grams would be enough. It was exactly 55 grams actually. And the little demon inside of me said, guess what? Start it with the 55 grams. It'll be enough. So if this is not enough, I'm going to be super irritated. But yesterday I picked up the stitches and started on my double knit button band. So this is started. That's what it's looking like. I'm doing it on 4mm needles, exactly what was written in the pattern. That's what I'm doing. I picked up the exact stitch count that was mentioned in the pattern. I try really hard not to modify things that I don't have a lot of experience doing. This is only my 2nd double knit button band, so I'm very much trusting the process, and I don't think that I'm going to have any issue. There's no puckering, there's no weirdness, and there's still quite a bit of stretch. So even if I go to block this, I think it'll be fine. This edge right here is a little wavy, and here it's where the buttonholes are, so I am hoping that blocks out. But so far so good. So I'm gonna knit a little bit on this and I'll check in later. I did want to say something about this button band. I don't have a ton of experience with tubular cast-ons, but I don't make a slip stitch when I make my tubular cast-on. I start with a knit stitch, I guess. I just place my needle in between. That seems crazy, but you know, like you do your slingshot, right? You place your needle here. I just go ahead and scoop up that knit stitch and then go under for my purl stitch. In this pattern, it does not specify start with a purl stitch, start with a knit stitch, which I thought was interesting because Laura Penrose patterns are like extremely detailed. But you have to start with a purl. You have to start with a purl or it does not work out. As I had to start over 4 or 5 different times because I couldn't understand what was going on, why it wasn't working out for me until it clicked. Oh, I need to start with a purl stitch. So maybe that's just the general understanding is if you're doing a tubular cast on, you start with a purl stitch. That was not my understanding. So your mileage may vary, but please start with a purl stitch. I hope that this saves you a little bit of frustration because I was definitely a little frustrated yesterday. It's coming along nicely though. Midland cardigan is done. So for how much hemming and hawing I did over this cardigan, saying, oh, it's not going to work, it's not long enough, it fits perfectly. It hits me where I want it to hit me. It's definitely oversized. The arms, normally I don't like tighter fitting arms, but there's still room in here, so it's not too uncomfortable. I actually like the silhouette on me. I think it's actually so cute. Mr. Kraft picked these buttons out of all the buttons I had in stash, and I don't dislike them. I can get up and show you. I don't know if this is necessarily something that I'm going to keep on this cardigan, but it's what I had for right now. So until I get different buttons, this is what it's going to look like. And I am beyond happy with the way this turned out. So let's go through stats. Okay. Anyway, this is the Midland Cardigan by Laura Penrose. I knit this in West Yorkshire Spinners BFL Fleece DK in the color 1041 Ravine. I used 4.5 millimeter needles as suggested by the pattern, 3.75 millimeter needles for the, or 3.5 millimeter needles for the ribbing, and 4 millimeter needles for the double knit button band. It is not sagging. It is doing exactly what it should do. I love how open this neckline is. So even though I definitely could have gone down to the size 3, I'm super glad I kept with the size 4. This is oversized, slouchy, just giving cute girl vibes. So overall, really happy with that. I didn't make any modifications to the patterns except for the sleeves. So I've talked about the modifications I've made, but one more time, I added extra length. Before starting my decreases, I added an extra 2 decreases, and I picked up extra stitches around the armhole. Very happy I did that. I don't think it would have been too tight if I picked up the correct number of stitches, but I don't think there's any puckering or any weirdness, so I'm happy I did that. Suggestions or tips for this pattern. Laura Penrose has very detailed patterns. Sometimes I like that, sometimes it's not my vibe. In this particular pattern, because she had 2 different ways to knit the pattern, i.e. you can knit it flat and seam it together, or you can do a seamless version, I found it to be a little tedious to figure out exactly where I needed to be in the pattern. Is that a pattern issue? Absolutely not. It's just did I love the format of this pattern? Not. It wasn't my favorite pattern. Extremely happy with the finished object though, so I would knit this again. Other than that, the only thing I found that was not specifically called out in the pattern and that I needed to be called out is how to start my tubular cast on. So do I need to start with a purl stitch or a knit stitch? It did not say that. I needed to start with a purl stitch, and I had to rip it out a couple times and redo it so that I would get the stitches to line up correctly. Now, that could be 100% a me issue, and everybody else just starts their tubular cast on with a purl stitch already, and I'm just missing something. But I will point that out as a issue I had with the pattern. So let's give it a rating, because this is what I'm going to do at my end of the year pattern roundup, or everything I knit in 2026. What would I rate this pattern? I would give it a 4 out of 5 for the reasons I mentioned. I had issues with the button band, maybe through my own issues, but maybe not. And I didn't love the formatting. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. There are no errors. I like Laura Penrose in general, and this is not only a cool construction, but it looks great. I know my skin looks terrible today. I just started a new rosacea treatment, and it's bad. But I think I look super cute. I feel very confident in this, and it fits me really well. Other than that, how would I rate my execution of this? I probably would not knit this out of the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn again, just because it has a halo to it. It's BFL, so it has that like fibery halo. And I don't think that lends to great stitch definition, but I mean, you can still see the stitches just fine. So I would 100% knit another one of these. I think this would look incredible in black, and I probably wouldn't use this yarn, but I think I might need another Midland in my life. So really excited to have this finished off the needles and ready for me to wear. I'm definitely going to wear this like everywhere. I love it. And I love the color. So super stoked. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. And if you have any questions about this project or anything else I'm doing, my Ravelry will be linked below and you can message me there or literally anywhere. But thank you so much for hanging out and see ya.